On Friday, April 15th at approximately 11:35 p.m., officers from the 1st Precinct responded to the report of a shooting on the 300 block of Hennepin Avenue. Officers arrived and located a 10-year-old juvenile male with an apparent life-threatening gunshot wound. Officers immediately rendered medical aid, including CPR. Fire and EMS arrived and quickly transported to the hospital, and despite all efforts to save this child's life, the child died at the hospital. Our preliminary information indicates that the 10-year-old juvenile who was shot was alone in an apartment with another family member, also a juvenile. Forensic scientists from the Forensic Division of the Minneapolis Police Department responded to process the scene and to collect evidence. We also have investigators who responded to try to determine exactly what transpired in that apartment when the shooting occurred. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner will release the name of this young man, along with the cause and the nature of death. I can add to that a death of any time, of any circumstance, is impactful. The death of a child in any circumstance is especially impactful. It impacts the first responders who went and dealt with this child, provided medical aid, performed CPR, the firefighters, the paramedics who transported, the doctors at the hospital who have to deal with a 10-year-old child dying in their presence. It impacts them. It impacts the community, the residents of that apartment building, the community as a whole, the city, and anybody who hears this story, I think, gives pause for a moment when they hear of a 10-year-old who has died. And most of all, it impacts this family. And I don't think there are words that we have that can express the depth of anguish and grief that they are facing today. To that, I will say that we know, I can share with you the facts that we have that are releasable. We have 2 juveniles alone in a residence with access to a gun. And that is always a bad recipe. Always. I cannot think of a single instance in life where that should be true. And so we are asking that any gun owner or anybody who has weapons in their homes to please take every measure necessary to secure those weapons. And that would include things like trigger locks and securing these weapons in a containment unit that is locked and not easy to get open, something like a gun safe. It is so necessary to be sure that you are securing these very dangerous weapons when children or anybody are present.